Alright, we're going to put the noseband on this bumper gun I'm building now, and start off with a brass strip, and I've gone ahead and scored some lines in here which the original had, double lines. You just do that with a pair of dividers after you've annealed the metal, and just set it to the edge, score the line, and this is, as you can see, is pretty soft now, which is what you want because you're going to wrap this around the base. And you want to choose the area that's pretty flat under here, about halfway between where it arcs up into the ramrod channel and the nose. And all I do is just set it in the center, bend the edges up, making sure they're aligned, and I'll start the bend on one side, and go ahead and I'll mark this, leaving about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less, and then I'll take a pair of shears and cut that to length, since we don't need all that excess. Put it back in place, give it a slight bend down, and you want a fairly tight bend here, so you can do that a couple of ways. One is you can slip a piece of metal in there that you filed a slight bevel on and pinch it down. You can also pinch it and then open it up just a little bit with a chisel or something that can get in there. The nice thing about this stuff is you can bend it around any way you want to. And I'm just going to pinch this down. Now these pliers here have no teeth on the inside, so I'm not going to mar it up much. Then I can take an older chisel I've got for just basic work. Open it up a little bit, and I'll set it back where I want it to be. And I'll mark it. And what you're going to end up doing is cutting a very small inlet for the tab in here, since the barrel is a fairly tight fit. And I'm going to want to take down the top edge of this about the thickness of the metal. So score it on either side, and you can shave that out or use a small file, whichever works best for you. And I'll kind of bevel the edge a little bit. Now you're going to want to get inside here an inlet for the tab to go down in the barrel channel. Now be careful pushing this way, because you could break this out. What you can do is put a piece of leather or block of wood on the back side if you're afraid you're going to push too much. I just kind of lightly push and wiggle at the same time, and that way it kind of cuts its way down in there without excessive pressure. Now just go in and take out a thin layer of wood about the thickness again of the metal. Alright, and what you should be able to do is sort of press this into place so that the top here is level with the wood and it fits neatly down into that inlet that you just made. And you bend it around to the other side. And you mark that side and do the same thing. Again, it's hard to see from where you're looking, but I'm going to mark it the same way I did on the other side. Score it and chisel that top layer off. Now if you're afraid you're going to go too far and cut along the top, just take a small file. I've got a little flat file here that's got safe edges on both sides, so it's good for getting in there and just taking that down pretty quick. And then you can give it a slight bevel at the same time. And then again we're going to inlet for the tab about a 1/4 inch or so down. And then remove that wood. Set this back in place now, making sure that the first edge is down nice and tight. Bend it around as tightly as you can hold it. Bend the tab down, and I'll mark off the excess. And then trim that section away. Back back in place, bend it on up. And then bend that on down. Just a little light hammering to make sure everything's set in tight. And the last step will be just simply clinch it in place. And I'm going to use the pliers to get that nice tight edge. And that's pretty much it. Not terribly difficult. Just a matter of getting those top edges down. And making sure you've got the inlets on the inside of the barrel channel. Because the barrel will hold it in place, but if your barrel's a tight fit like mine usually is, then you've got to have that relief area for the brass to go down into, otherwise the barrel won't set in tight. So there you have it. We now have a noseband on here, and you can see it wraps around pretty tight. You can go back and give a little taps here and there if you want to make sure it sets down good and tight. You'll feel it, but hopefully you've got it down nice and tight to the wood, and it'll be a good fit. So there you have it. One noseband. Alright, so I guess that's it. Until next time, you guys take care. Keep building.